Namaste everyone, this is Khwab D. Haria. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a drummer from Mumbai and welcome to the 8th episode of Percussion Discussions Show hosted by Gappu Percussion. We have a very special guest today, a very fine percussionist and a super good human being. Varun doesn't need a lot of introduction, guys. If you listen to the djembe, the African style, the authentic style, the first person comes to your mind is Varun Venkit. So, without much ado, let me welcome Varun here. Yes.
Hey.
Hello. How are you, Varun?
Hi there, Kwab. How's it going?
All good, Varun. So good to see you here.
Good to see you too. Hi, everyone out there. It's great to be here. Thanks a lot, Gappu Percussion and Kwab and Aditya and the whole gang for having me.
Thank you for accepting
Please.
our request to be on this show.
Of course. I mean, my pleasure.
So good to see you, man. It's been a while. We have spoken or we've met, Varun.
Yeah, long time. I mean, well, what, over a year and a half since the lockdown?
Yeah.
And before that, yeah, gigs. At some gigs or at some workshops.
Yeah,
Lots of-
man. That's how we meet generally.
Yeah.
So Varun has been a very fine percussionist, and for people who don't know, he also plays the drums, and he also does a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So Varun, how's the whole past 1.5 year been?
But it's so interesting, right? I think, I mean, of course, skipping the obvious of, work, just, tables turning like 180 degrees. Apart from that, I think the positives, focusing on what's good. We've all got time to sort of go back to square one and revisit the basics of everything, of why we're doing what we're doing. So a lot more music, riyaz and practice and shedding and, just sitting out there, and you have so much time now. Not having time because of gigs is not an excuse.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, of course, it's easier said than done. So it's been tough to actually focus, but thanks to having a lot of time, I think the positive is that I've been able to, I think, sit down and shed some djembe stuff, put some djembe stuff on the drum kit, and then see how that helps
nice.
me approach the drum
Nice.
kit in a different way. I've been doing some conga stuff. I don't know. Well, so my studio's a mess right now. There's congas are there. The
Looks
kit is
amazing,
there.
man.
The kit is behind me, and my djembe is right here. So it's a mess that I had to shut shop in that. I would have I'd store my drums in another place, but now it's all here in my practice rehearsal room. So I have to wade through a percussion maze to get to the instrument that I want to play.
But it's the mess we love, Varun, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. And how are things currently in Pune? You're in Pune, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, in Pune. In fact, things are, well, better. As of tomorrow, shops and stuff are open, and restaurants are open till 10 p.m. So, I mean, word is that we're in between lockdowns, but I guess we will have to sort of live life gradually in between waves as we get vaccinated
Yeah. Okay. So going back to how you started music firstly,
Okay.
in general. And what was your first instrument?
My my first instrument, it's so interesting. I had these Indian-made bongos, and it's sweet. I think it's something that many budding percussionists or will have, or you'll find it in many houses. And so my dad used to play the drums in his college days.
Okay.
In IIT Kharagpur and stuff like that. So there was always sort of music in the house. Mom was an RJ in All India Radio Kolkata, so
Oh,
she
wow.
would play some. So in that, there's always music around. When we started off, so like rhythm wise, it's really interesting. I of course, like many of us, I think be playing on stuff, on things, on tables, and all that. And so
Yeah.
this bongo, I think my father's like, okay, let's test his hobby, and it was only much later that I
Sweet.
got my first drum kit. But then okay, bongo, and then I'll do some time pass on it. Of course, it wasn't until much later that I got into the basics of that instrument, and stuff. Because I guess with percussion, one starts off and then finds one's way to the traditional authentic technique and things like that. But a quick one, the first rhythm actually that I learned from my father, in fact, was the bossa nova on the drum kit.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it was always was it drums or percussion? It was
Hmm. So
like
it's
all through the way.
right. It's that chicken or egg wala question. But so I'd say percussion. But then for a long time, like in the start, I was doing drum kit. And then at heart, though, of course, I still feel that I'm drawn to percussion. And even today, I think the setup that I'm most interested in right now is my hybrid setup, which we'll talk about later, I think. But
Yeah.
that's yeah. So I think the answer is yes to both. It's tough to choose one.
But so basically, your mother is the reason you start playing drums, is what we hear. Is that true?
Dad actually more. But see, it's tough to say, no. I mean, Dad was a drummer in his college days, and then
So,
there's always mom sings, and so yeah. So my brother plays the guitar. Like he'll play. He's not professionally, but of course he plays well, and so that way in that we've got a little family thing going. Yeah.
nice, nice. So, like, at what age did you pick up the bongos?
Yeah. What age? Oh my gosh. I was about in my third standard or something. So that would have been eight,
Nice,
nine, something. Yeah.
nice.
I
So,
mean,
how's the journey been so far? Like, just
great.
could you just take us through
Yeah.
the
Through, yeah. Sure.
from Varun at age 9 to Varun now?
Oh my God. Okay. He's 9. I was far rounder and louder and crazier than I am, I think, today. Um, yeah. So after that one, the bongo craze, whatever I was playing, I was doing anything on it. I mean, it was not anything worth, writing home about. Then I think I started drum kit classes, learned from quite a few teachers in the city, and yeah, by then I think my first, the pad to practice on was like a piece of wood and one Hawaii chappal nailed on it, and then
Right,
that was,
right.
humble beginnings wala situation. And then uh, I remember first band was this band called Moonstruck, and I was I think 10th standard or 8th standard or some nonsense, and we had to go to INS Shivaji. So because the singer he was a major at that time at INS, and then so we would rehearse at the INS Shivaji music room.
Oh,
And next thing I know, I'm sitting on a local train for the first time in my life, going to Lonavala. It's too much fun. I met the guitar player there, and crazy things we've done for music, I guess, at
I'm sure.
that
So,
time. So
yeah, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead,
no,
go
no,
ahead.
no, not at all. So of course I'm skipping quite a few years. Um, so that was a very interesting rehearsal time for rehearsal. We were a Doors tribute band.
Oh,
It was,
nice.
so my gosh, it was a crazy, like, the kind of hipped out jam band situation. And I remember the one of our sort of first gigs in Pune. Uh, there was us, and then there was AFS, Acquired Funk Syndrome. So that was a really cool, and that was actually the first time I got to meet my dear friend Rushad up close, and Fali, and the boys
Ah,
back, Bruce and Sandy. Oh my God, and thriving
Handy,
music
man.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, thriving music scene when Music World was the shop where they sell cassettes now.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and in Pune, so now that has become
I don't think today's generation knows what a cassette is.
absolutely not, absolutely not. So
I
that
don't
that was a
think I
fun
don't think I don't think even CDs. It's pen drive
yeah.
now. Not even
Right.
pen drives.
It's
Spotify.
just Spotify. No, once the moment the iPod happened, that was the end of
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So yeah, in that very quickly. So since I took a couple of classes, then a lot of self-learning happened. I said, okay, I need to teach myself how to read some music. So I went to the official Pune Center for the Trinity College exams, and
Nice.
I had some. I mean, Rustam was the only other person who would do some classes or I think mentor some students who wanted to learn that. But he was super busy, but he gave me some nice tips. And next thing was okay, study and give exams and figure it out as we went along. Now, of course, access to information is a lot more easy, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
great because we can all focus and get good quality stuff. So yeah, so once that learning happened side by side, there's a lot of musical stuff going on. Shankara, which then eventually morphed into what is today Agni, AGNEE.
Yeah.
That happened. So it was great, right? I mean, we all grew up rocking out with Coco and Uday and Rustam and the gang, and then next thing I know, in between my I think master's examinations, I'm going for a gig somewhere. So it was nice to have these kind of stories to tell. It probably wasn't as much fun for my parents to like say, "What is this guy doing?" But credit due to them to let me do that. So there's Agni happening. Alongside this, I was playing with another, I think, great influence is Jayant Sankritya, and he's a very, very good classical guitar player, bass player in Pune. We would make a lot of music with his band, which was originally called Crayon and then Silver and things like that. Um, so we had a lot of fun, lot of fun playing a lot of different kinds of music, small, tight knit, close knit music and drummer community. So it was always great. And the final thing along with this is, since I met my percussion and musical guru, may his soul rest in peace, Mamadi Keita, in 2010. Since then, like a lot of the djembe stuff would immediately trickle into my, drummer community where there's Dheer and Agnya and
Yeah.
Amar and Zizu and a bunch of these guys who all like we took it up together and started playing West African percussion music, which was great because it was something new and when you say African music, somehow I think to the layman the first thing that comes up is okay, tribal music. But there's
Yeah.
so much nuance, there's so much story, there's so much detail that one tends to miss that I was very happy to bring to the table and learn myself. My gosh, it's continues to be an amazing learning experience. So playing that music, I think was a major part of who I am as a musician, as a percussionist today. So yeah, I gave you a very long-winded but haphazard answer. I hope that's okay.
No, no, no. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing to see, from doing from starting with bongos to playing drums to be a part of a cover band to Agni and to Taling. So,
Yeah.
could you just tell us what drew your interest towards the African music and African culture in general,
Right, right.
and when did that happen?
Right. This was around 2007 or 2008. I was learning from this drummer from Australia called Josh Banks. He was in India because he was learning the tabla from Rajiv Devasthali, who is a dear friend of mine through another source because I would learn German and he was also a teacher for German. So interesting connection. my German teacher was someone's tabla teacher
Tabla teacher.
who happened to become my
Your
drum
drum
teacher.
teacher.
Crazy, crazy. So really nice. We would spend a lot of time together, and he, amazing, superb drummer. And he introduced me to the first DVD, Mamadi Keita DVD. He's like, "You love percussion, check this out." And it was one part of the rhythms of the Mandeng. Mandeng is the western part of Africa. Uh, it encompasses a lot of the countries like Senegal, Guinea, Ivory Coast, Mali, Ghana, Zambia, Gambia, that kind of stuff. And so the Mandeng percussion. When you say Mandeng percussion, one is talking about djembe, dunun, calabash, things like that. So he breaks down, and it's like an encyclopedia of rhythms, of traditional rhythms. So I said, my gosh, I have to meet this man. Is he alive? I Googled him for a bunch of weeks, and next thing I know, okay, he's teaching a workshop in Singapore, and I said, okay, I'm going to go there. And by this time, of course, in my eyes, I think, wow, I'm a great djembe player. Because I have a djembe and I can play something on it, right? And I have sort of studied whatever bass tone and slap from his DVDs and all that. And I'm thinking I'm too cool for school, and I went there. And my gosh, I got my, ass handed to me, pardon the French, because that was really the first day for me to listen and watch up front traditional djembe and playing. And it's really an amazing experience. And I think that day I knew that I needed to, be close to this man and learn somehow, however possible.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so he, of course, he's used to this from students. Like, he's used to students falling at his feet. I mean, as I know, many masters, they know their journey, and they know that when students are inspired, they will follow, but they also will test you. So, like, I said, okay, Mamadi, I traditionally in West Africa, if you want a teacher to be your teacher, you offer a West African version of Guru Dakshina. You offer these kola nuts. Kola nuts are, the closest translation would be like the fresh tobacco, like it's called guai or kwai in the Northeast. Okay. So like that, it's you collect them, and it's freely available, but it's very auspicious. So you offer that, and you ask for whether he will be your guru.
Yeah.
And first time, he didn't say no, but he didn't say yes either. He said, when you're ready. He said that, and I said, okay. Oh my gosh. And it is a very interesting thing, because it's not like I could go to his house every day, or I could, he travels the world teaching. So how to do this? So that was when it's amazing. The whole fraternity, the djembe community of TTM or Tam Tam Mandeng, his academy, really helps, build the ecosystem. So there's a whole sort of world that opened up. I started learning. Once again, self-study has been so important. And of course, it was difficult because there's no support as such. I had to use Nasik dhols and small Punjabi dhols as dununs to mimic the sound of a West African bass drum section. But all good until then I finally went and made my own instruments and things like that. So taught myself, and I realized, okay, I need to meet him. I need to, keep meeting him somehow. So as it turned out, every year I would sort of find out, save up money for that one thing, and go and figure it out. Meet him in a new country every year and learn new stuff from him. So it was only until some 3-4 years of meeting him that he remembered my name. and
Man.
that's when I think he also, we both knew that, okay, he's accepted me as a student. And after that, because until he remembered my name, he'd called me Lafu Anje or something like that, which means crazy Indian or something. He'd call me something like that. And then I knew, okay, the fact that through the eyes of the djembe, I'm learning a new culture, new cultural practices, and it's so amazingly similar to Indian culture in a way. And that was really nice. And I think that's the best way to learn about a new culture, through the music. And I got my hands on a good djembe and started practicing, because it's, of course, the hands, the rhythms, prima facie, they'll be easy. But what is easy? Because when you start with tabla, you spend years just practicing that
Getting the
one sound, getting
one
this,
sound.
hitting
Yes.
yeah, and that's it. It's like your priyas, your meditation, your practice. Then came, the drum will slowly give you these gifts and open things up,
Right.
and it's like going deeper and deeper into the rabbit's hole. And now, yeah, here I am, in brown man playing djembe. But interestingly, in this amazingly small, beautiful world, I carry this legacy on my shoulder, and I'm really blessed. I'm really, really blessed, really grateful for everything. Uh, and I think everything we're doing now through this is testimony that, uh, yeah, you once you know your intent, you go and you stop at nothing until you find what you're looking for, basically.
So well put up. So well said, Varun.
Thanks.
Great. And so now, when did you come up with talim?
Okay. Yeah, Tal Ink. I think, yeah, I knew this in my college. Ki whatever would happen, I would call it. I mean, I knew earlier on, since the drumming thing started, ki, okay, music is it. The question was how to continue and sustain this. So, Tal Ink. As I started again, learning, teaching, self-study, and just learning from various people, I started teaching. I said, okay, I'll need some pocket money to buy things. And so I said, okay, let me
Yeah.
start teaching. And very interestingly, first the area around here, people started coming. And wow, my first student, I had a mixed bunch of students. One was like 5 years old, one was 14 years old, as I could. So, um, of course, we would work, but then I realized, and side by side, I'm also studying psychology. I'm also
I'm going to come to that. Yeah, I'm going to come to
right.
that a little later. But
Sure. So now, suddenly there's a group of like mixed age groups coming from different backgrounds, and I had to sit and teach them drums. When not all of this hobby class, not all of them were. I mean, very few out of that lot actually became
could
professionals.
continue. Yeah.
Actually, four of them, and these guys are doing. I'm really so happy and proud, and it's great. There's Shreyas Iyengar. He's crazy, doing some multiple
He's
instruments and
amazing.
all. Yeah,
Shreyas
then
is amazing. Yeah.
there's Sarthi, who's just gone and broken all friggin', for a short while. Yeah. So Shreyas and Sarthi. After which came these two guys, came Agnya and Dheer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So these two
Both are
guys have.
both amazing. Yes.
So, like it was really nice. Okay, keeping them aside, the others are these hobbyists. Now, how to engage all of them? They're all in the class. So, okay, we all took one instrument, and here's where I think a lot of what I studied about people and behavior, and also African music and percussion music, helped me to break down these parts and work with groups together. So the intent was, okay, I need to teach them rhythm without teaching them rhythm, because this 5-year-old is getting bored every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And the older guy is, tired of babysitting the younger guy. So how to engage each one? So it became, the question became how to work with them. So how to facilitate this process. And that's how I personally discovered the concept of, one can call it group drumming or a drum circle or a jam session. It goes by various names. And so that's when I started geeking out about studying more and more about this phenomenon, saying, great, group drumming has existed since, well, time and people and
Yeah.
humans. And so, what are the principles that guide this? Not everybody will be an ace, amazing drummer, but how do I work with that hobby, passion drummer and alongside a musician, while meeting them both at their level of, appetite for for percussion. So that I think has been or shall continue to be my life's work. Um, and then, okay, drum circle facilitation. And that's when I knew, okay, great, this is something I want to do. I can do this. I can play music with bands. Great. I can teach drummers and I can, I can train percussionists, but I can also work with groups. And so, since there were so many applications of the concept of Tal, that's when this brainwave of, oh, Tal Inc. incorporated or inclusive. So INC like has less of this business connotation in terms of, whatever Inc., but it's more to mean incorporated or inclusive or something that speaks everything under the umbrella of Tal. So that's how the
damn interesting
thing happened. Yeah.
damn interesting and so interesting. Such an interesting name. I've always loved the name Talink.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
So this drum circle concept is it also coming from the African culture?
I see. I can't say unequal. Arguably yes, but not only Africa. I mean, like Indian culture has group drumming where we would sing and drum together. African culture has a lot of drumming. Many South American cultures have drumming. Many indigenous cultures have drumming. So the cool thing is that most cultures have a drum, and when they have a drum, they have people playing the drum, and they have communities gathering together.
It's like a community thing for so many. I mean,
exactly, exactly. So it's there. It's there. The kind of drum differs. The kind of songs differ, and and men would play, women would play. It's quite amazing. There's this whole thing of frame drum, the women frame drummers, then dancing, then inevitably where there was drum and dance, there'd be food and there'd be community life. So, much like we will see at these small, like Chaurahas, at these chowks, when you have these little temples, through the night, there'll be a satsang thing going on. There'll be chai brewing, there'll be some food happening. And of course, during the Ganpati festival, you'll have these communities come together and drum. And, that was very much a man-made thing, And so drumming has always existed. The forum would be maybe like a procession where drummers moved, or it would be stationary, or it would be like to support a ritual, like a ritualistic, a ceremony. So that's a really interesting anthropology or ethnomusicology kind of study where we are going into, culturally, historically prevalent, occurrences like this, and it's so interesting to study more and more. I'm the student of this at best.
I mean, we all are.
Yeah. But it's something that's so interesting because musically, and especially for like drummers, my gosh, one will hear some musically super intricate things happening. But when you break it down, like many people will be doing simple things, but when put together, it just like blows up. Yeah, blows up into this amazing thing. Great, beautiful swing, loose flams moving from binary to ternary, and oh my gosh, it's crazy. And of course, there's a whole language, there's a whole protocol, a system. So to understand that system, whether it's a samba drumming procession or a West African drumming thing or a Ganpati Dhol Tasha, the protocol and the rules are so beautiful to understand. And yeah, so this has again fueled a lot of the work that we do, because to use these concepts and tie it into a group of students or a group of corporates to teach them about management jargon or corporate training jargon. So that's where the academic training came into play. But it's very easy to do. It lends itself very beautifully, very naturally, without having to focus or without having to force it. Nahi to training ke time, teaching is very much, do this. But facilitation is, let's do this and then let this goal be experienced by us all, basically.
Nice. So good. A lot of people don't know that Varun is also a psychologist. Could you tell us a
Yeah,
little more
well,
about
so
this side
yeah,
of work?
cool. Yeah, psychology is of what a amazing. I studied it for how many now? Because after my 10th standard, I'm like, मुझे drum करना है. But then if I continued with, तभी, yeah, again very rigid. Yeah, art, science, commerce. So I said, okay, arts, easy choice.
तीनों में से एक लेना ही है. Yes.
So like that. So then, so junior college itself, I started my psychology, studies. Mom studied child psychology when she was in college, so maybe that had something to do with it. They were like, "You figure it out." So I said, "Thank you, awesome." So psychology, the the more I think back, I don't remember that. Okay, this is why. I just said, okay, this seems like the easiest or not easiest. It seems like the most attractive choice at that time. So when I look back, it was organic. I said, great, okay. From there, clinical psychology to understand behavior, and then behavior that would probably lie at certain ends of the continuum. And alongside all this amazing realization is happening with music and people, and I'm super excited about wow, I can do this. Research, and I actually in 2011 signed up and registered for my PhD even after my master's. My gosh, but then I think something had to give. I didn't get funding, so I said, okay, I need to stop that. There's no way I'm paying for my own PhD, so let me continue doing this work, pushing it, and doing my academic stuff like writing papers. Like I said, I geeked out about the cultural prevalence of drumming, what it would do, what are the non-musical benefits of just sitting and playing together. Because as musicians, as drummers, we feel a lot of stuff that actually, for someone who's touching the drum for the first time, can be really intense. We may have experienced it thanks to the gift of constant riyaz of playing a lot with people. We may have accessed this state of flow, as it's academically called.
Right.
But then for someone who's probably experiencing that for the first time, it's very overwhelming. And it's like, wow, a weight has been lifted off my shoulder. So to facilitate this process for people who've actually not experienced it is what a gift. I mean, I'm really grateful, to have been able to do this and spread the, sow the seeds for it here in this country. Because when I started, people are like, yeah, तुम लोग drum बजाने वाले हो और इससे stress कम होगा. What? And of course, I was young and not as convincing as I can possibly be today. Cut to today, when we go, people know about this. They're like, yes, importance of art and art-based interventions for healing and self-care. And it really matters what we're doing apart from our craft. What are we doing to help just bring emotional content out? For catharsis, what are we doing? So whether it's running a marathon or whether it's playing the drums or whether it's cooking for some people or whatever, the idea is to find that thing. And so I realized that's been my major takeaway through these, or my major message through these sessions over the past decade has been, what is your equivalent of drumming? For me, it's drumming. What's yours? What's your equivalent? Is it an art-based thing? Is it a meditative practice? What are we doing in our lives to be in the here and now fully? And that's actually, sorry, I'm talking too much, but very quickly, that's thing.
It's very insightful. It is insightful for the listeners.
Awesome. I'm so happy. So it's like there's this feeling of here and now. I mean, when we're playing as drummers in a band, in a musical setting, or when we're learning, it brings us fully to the here and now a lot more than by doing other things. When people say, okay, meditation is good for you, yoga is good for you. Yeah, when you sit and you close your eyes and you breathe 100 things, your mind is already cluttered with a lot of things. So
it's never like you are at peace and you are meditating. There's always those thoughts running.
Right, exactly. So now, okay, you have the strength and the gumption to like power through that, great. You will find peace at the end of it. So drumming and percussion, for me, and my personal experience, biased as it may be, is that you will 100% find it easier to experience a, a meditative state once you indulge in a group drumming situation. And at the end of which, and here's where my work and my, I think, that's where my learning and my expertise will account. I am able to help facilitate that process, at least to start and create that aha moment saying, wow, this is possible.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about how to do it on a regular basis. Like how then 45 minutes seems like 10 minutes because poof, we forgot everything for a while.
Mm.
The feel good hormones is oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. So good hormones are secreted. We are in a more relaxed state. Suddenly, a lot of the sort of stress-related issues that we may be facing may not be true for a while. Not that it's a magic pill for anything, but it'll really help. It'll really help. So that's something that my message has been through the work that we've been doing, and thanks to I think the general readiness of I think the community around me here in India, abroad. It's been a really beautiful experience to drum with a new set of people every day almost. So yeah, look forward to that soon sometime.
Amazing, and it's so deep, man. And yeah, I mean, see, as a drummer or as a percussionist, even playing in a band setup, being on stage with musicians, you feel that so basically you're not thinking anything else, right?
Exactly.
The exact words you mentioned, here and now. That's when you are here and now.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
My usual question to people is like, when's the last time you remember thinking of nothing? And usually they're like, yaar, yaad nahi hai, That's the thing.
True. So true. Amazing. So, now, you've been, over the last few months, you've been coming out with a lot of singles.
Yeah.
Could you tell us something more about that?
Absolutely. This has been my dream, in fact. So in a way, I'm so happy and so blessed, and thanks for asking the question. Tal Inc. and Friends, this is basically, like a dream come true for me because thanks to all this sort of 360 degrees rhythm stuff, I've had the good fortune of, playing and crossing paths and sharing stage and getting to know some amazing musical souls, spirits, kindled spirits. So Gino and I would cross paths a lot at gigs and stuff. And yeah, I say, bato mein, of course, yeah, chal, let's play. And I was like, yeah, let's definitely play. It's, because when drummers get together, yeah, it's fun, it's easy, you play, whatever. So it's always great fun to hang and to share and to play.
You can have probably the most conversation is when you are with your instruments, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to drums and percussion.
Exactly. You say so much without having to say anything. It's great. Yeah. So nice. So yeah, and so Gino and he followed through, and we really said, we'll make it happen. Thanks to him, then he would he said, okay, I'll talk to Sanjay, and then I said, yeah, man, please talk to Sanjay. Otherwise, Sanjay will be like, yeah, ye Varun kaun hai?
No, man.
No. I mean, I'm of course exaggerating. Sanjay's going to kill me for this, but so he then he's like he did his due diligence, and then we met, and it was great. Yeah, to talk, and Sanjay is just such a sweetheart. Call him Shifu because of his amazing. I mean, his life and his journey is a whole other thing.
He's a monster musician.
Exactly.
Such a wonderful soul. Such a nice, soft-spoken.
Really, kindled spirit once again. So he really got it. So we then suddenly, okay, Sheldon's on. So thanks to Gino and our talks, okay, Sheldon, then Sanjay, and then I said Gandhar come because I love the flute, and I knew he was there. And then Sheldon sorted out he called Megha and Ramya at the time, And I just said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna like take a like just call an executive one and say, we've got a gig. I'll just book a gig and we'll just figure it out. So I booked a gig at Eureka. Sandy's always game, and he's like, yeah, boss, let's do it. Then I called, and so suddenly all this became real very quickly. We had like no material. So, and West African songs are very repetitive and very basic. There's a bunch of rhythm and call and response vocals, solos, and the dynamic. And because there are people dancing, and this stuff is played from night till morning. That's the vibe. So now suddenly, of course, we're interpreting it in a 21st century sort of contemporary jazz, funk, hip hop feel, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
Sanjay still asks me every time, and I give it some songs, and Sanjay's like, "Oh, that's it. Now we have to write a song around this thing." So I'm like, "Yeah." Uh, so Gino and me would sort of split the Dunan section. He would take it and interpret it on the bass drum and the toms, and then yeah, the Independence King. So he'd interpret it in a nice way. So then I'd have the djembe and the hyper kind of stuff to do. So rhythmically, it was interesting. Uh, Sheldon sat right on it, and we'd create a hook. So for the gig, we literally created some hooks. The djembe, the rhythm breaks were converted to were again orchestrated on the musical instruments as well. And we said okay, and then passed the solos around, and we said let's go and do this.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, so that was the first gig. Was a heavy one because in I think 2 days of rehearsal we had to cram in like just 8 or make and cram in 8 songs or 9 songs. And but then it was great fun, and after that we realized, wow, if we're onto something, we should record. Then everyone, I just so happened to be in this journey with the busiest musicians I know, and it was so difficult to get its time. So then, thanks to the lockdown, suddenly everyone's got time, and
Yeah.
so I think Bele Bele ka recording we had done pre-lockdown. We were just sitting on the mix
Okay.
and stuff like that, and then Sanjay said, okay, let's do this. He was working on the Markaba stuff before that with
Right.
Vasu. And
Was
then I realized every song can have a featured artist. And of course, there's this amazing band and musicians I get to, play with and ideate with. And so we said, okay, let's take it song by song because the process needs to be fun and happy and chilled out. And so Bele Bele has a story. Bele Bele means big personality, and the amazing Kalpana is singing on it. Kalpana Patowri. Oh,
oh,
what
what
a
a
voice!
voice! What a power!
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
gosh, like if since the whole experience was surreal. Megha and Ramya are slamming the African vocals. Gandhar. So that song, in fact, arrangement-wise, that song has the most authentic sort of jam band kind of feel. The song after that, Casa and Kurejuka, are very much arranged in a more tighter fashion to suit like recorded releases. So Casa features Vasu,
Yeah.
Vasundhara V. She's my like soul twin, awesome singer, and Korejuga features Kalai, MC Arts Lord. He's a
Yeah.
young rapper from Dharavi, quite a crazy,
Yeah.
talented
I've
man.
had I have had a chance to work with him as well with Vivek Vivek bhai. We did
Yes,
that
Vivek.
Tadum project. We did live gigs for Tadum project. So
Exactly. So Tadom and what he's done with Tadom is just so beautiful. Vivek is just, my gosh, amazing genius.
uh,
He
amazing.
started out the rap for Kalai, and we went ahead and recorded this. So yeah, we've got another very cool song coming out. The fourth one, I'm not so sure when exactly. I'm still actually to record percussion, and Sheldon has to record the bass on that, and then it'll be a month till we are ready for release. So the idea is that okay, let's take some nice West African songs and take elements, non-African elements. So it needn't be Indian necessarily. Belly Belly, of course, featured uh, 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 like two northeastern sort of languages, Assamese and there's Tiwa. The feel is very much like Bihu.
Right.
And Kalpana is just an encyclopedia on like, so she is, I think, to the
Folk.
northeastern, yeah, folk music, that what I'm doing for West African music. So she really, you know, told a beautiful story. In the Tiwa part, it's actually a dancer singing to the drummer, saying, "Drum properly, or I'll beat you on the head with a stick," and things. It's really cute, and and then of course Casa sings about prosperity, and just it's a healing sort of prayer to everybody in these crazy times. Kurejuka is about unmasking, well, fear, hatred, ego. It refers to the, Kurejuga, the caste of people who would get into ceremonies and disturb people. And I was told that these are similar to Behrupiyas in Indian culture, and they'd go and disturb, and it, of course, make fun of, and then you'd pay them money to leave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in a way, a satire to ask people to be the best that they can be, to remind them of the best that they are, I guess. And that was Kurejuga. The next one is a sweet, happy, sexy song. It's the rhythm of Courtship. And yeah, I'll share more on that soon. But that we're really excited for that. Features so a powerhouse from Boston. I'm gonna save those details for later. I'm hoping that all 8 or 12 people over here are excited. Yeah.
Well, amazing, amazing. I mean, really good arrangement. I mean, I was just listening. We started with Casa, so yeah,
Yeah, love it. Yeah.
amazing arrangements. But so are these like traditional songs you guys are arranging and putting it together, or are these some of the songs also like original compositions?
Right. So the songs are like folk songs. So public domain folk songs that would be sung in West Africa for certain ceremonies. So Kasa is a harvest rhythm. So to celebrate a good harvest or to encourage farmers on the field, that song will be sung. And it's call and response. No? Kila minoli kan kan kaluna, bala Kasaleo, and the whole, the
Ah,
responses. Yeah. So we've taken that melody and we have interpreted it and added and well composed the whole concept around that. So the African choruses are things that I would have learned and I've studied and learned from the great Mamadi Keita, and that was also such a beautiful thing. While hanging out and just spending time with him, after most of the time, after he ate a good, nice, scrumptious meal, he'll be in a good, happy mood, and then he'll sit and talk to us. And suddenly he'll go quiet, and his fingers will start tapping, and one song will come, and he'll start singing, and we would all just not do anything to change his mood because that's the only way we'd get to hear and listen to these
right,
songs. Of course, you
right,
can hear it
right,
from his records, but to hear it up front is different. Then he'll
right. Yeah, yeah,
tell you the story of the song and what it loosely meant. And yeah, so interesting because that's how I've figured or learned these songs. And they're so singable. It's all very chanty, like chorusy. That's the
yeah. Right,
vibe of these
right,
songs.
right.
And so the other stuff has been composed around that
Around
that
the
yeah, yeah.
right. What's your current setup, Varun?
My current setup, correct. I wish I could show you. Yeah, I had a class, so I had to remove it. I was talking about this sort of hybrid percussion setup.
Right.
It's an interesting one. So I have bass and hats. So that's there, like traditional.
Okay.
I'm sitting on a throne, or sometimes I'm sitting on a cajon. I
Okay.
have this tritone cajon. So there's a bass and there's a sort of non-snare and a high and a snare.
Okay.
And I have to my right. So I have these cajonets. I don't know if yeah, are you familiar with the
I've
minor?
heard. I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen. I think I've seen in one of your posts only.
Yeah. The
It's too
cajon is
long.
yeah. So you
Yeah,
can sit
yeah,
on a
yeah.
chair and you don't have to bend over like that. Well, that's the playing. It slopes away from you. I have a big one and a small one. It sort of goes into each other. So I play
It's like
those.
the Kong. It's like wooden congas. I mean, could you call it like wooden congas?
It's got a snare feel, na? So
Snare
it's a
sound.
very,
Yeah, yeah.
very much a cajon. Like it's got that the spring. And then I'll put a cymbal. So in a way, like all of this is playable with hands and also with like maybe lightning rods or your, hot
Brushes or
rods,
what? Yeah.
brushes, things like that. Yeah. I'll put a block section. I'll mount that where the toms would usually be mounted. So I'll mount so I'll put some blocks, some metal sounds and some wood blocks. I'll put maybe one tom or a floor tom for like a nice, reverberating lower
Low.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, my gosh, for the empty cafe thing, I put one darbuka also. I mean, I just put everything without too much thought. But the base thing, the core was that. So you have the base hats. I've got those cajons. There's a darbuka, and I did put my djembe also. But then that was more than just for that sound spectrum. Yeah, I will, man. I wish I could show it to you. I'm so sorry. I'll share a photo or something. I'll do that if I can.
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
So, but
I
then
played
this
that.
is, yeah. Go on, go
Sorry,
on.
sorry to interrupt. I just saw Brigu joining in, and I remember when we both shared stage, I had this set up because I explored this option, and he's all about building those soundscapes and the sound spectrum. That he loop stuff. So I used this setup with him. Hey, Brigu, thank you for reminding me.
Hey, Brigu. So, okay. So this is like a regular setup you've been working on.
They're off late,
Mostly,
yeah.
mostly hand. I mean, mostly a setup which you could play with hands.
Play with hands and sort of auxiliary, stick kind of things.
Yeah.
On the kit, traditional setup, actually, so I've 10, 12, 14, 16 toms and then a, 14 and a half inch snare. So that's something that I'm working on. But the approach is, as I think spoke in the start a little bit, I've been trying to, and it's
With the
been going
African.
yeah, it's been going a little slow, but I'm just interpreting the Dunun section because Dununs are basically big bass drum, medium-sized bass drum, small bass
And
drum.
small.
Yeah, and then so
I
it's
remember when you did
yeah,
like a workshop at Arts in Motion, with the Topic Boys
yeah,
class, and
big topic, but
2 years.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That was so cool. Yeah, I remember that. He's such an amazing percussionist. So, we so putting those parts, and there's a bell on the non-dominant hand, and this will
Right,
play tunes and mute. So
right.
interpreting the crux of the bell pattern like on a ride or on the hi-hat and then using like the bass drum for Dununba, which is the big bass drum, and using left and right hands for Kenkeni and Sangban, which is the small and the medium sized bass drum. It creates a nice dialogue. It creates a really cool dialogue, and complementing that depending on the genre. Let's say I want a backbeat, then I'll add a snare. So that's something I've been working on actually. Yeah, I've not
Nice.
put anything out yet, like just even a teaser and all. I'm a little shy about that, but maybe I'll do that
Soon.
soon. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
I think we are left with very little time, but
Ah,
there are these endless questions I have to ask you. I have for
eh,
you basically.
uh-huh.
But let's move to the next section, which is I've
Mhm.
got questions from the Gappu team and the listeners. So
Wow,
we'll
cool.
do a quick round. Yeah, yeah. I think you answered the first question already, which says why djembe and what drew you to the instrument.
Right, yeah. I think I did in a long-winded way. Yeah. Why
Yeah, yeah,
djembe?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
why djembe? Because djembe.
Yeah. Who was your first drumming teacher?
Wow, my first drumming teacher. Amazing. Zubin Balsara. He taught me. Well, okay, technically my dad. Technically my dad. And then, of course, a gentleman who lived here, and I worked very closely with him, Zubin Balsara. Then Sanjeev Pankar. then Josh Banks, and then Mamadi Keita. And then all my
So all
beautiful guru brothers who are drumming and inspiring me every day. Yeah.
so before Mamadi Keita, it was all drum set.
Yeah, interesting, right? It was all drum set,
Yeah,
drum set. Yeah. Yeah. Mm, mm.
amazing. Okay, next, yeah. Do you endorse any drumming brands, any drums or percussion brands?
And yeah, well, I have this Meinl Weaver rhythm. So these guys are the drum circle instrument line of Meinl. So Meinl Weaver rhythm is what they're called, and the kind folk at Meinl Weaver rhythm sent me a bunch of beautiful drums to try out and use. That's how I got my hands on those cajonettes and those tritone cajons and amazing cajons. Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed that. And yeah, I was dabbling with some fiber djembes for a while, making them and things. So that was my own thing. So you could say I endorsed them, but and then I just started, well, getting my own raw materials and making some nice traditional West African drums, because that's a whole
Rope,
process in itself.
right?
Rope pull,
Rope
beautiful
pull.
wood, yeah, good skin, and that process in itself, of making a drum. We can have a whole live chat about that.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel we should have like a 2 hour Insta live session because I mean, you won't believe this is only half of the questions I've asked or half of
Oh,
the discussion I had planned. But anyway,
oh man,
so the
yeah,
the last question from Gappu team
yeah,
is, so basically we've heard that you tighten and reskin djembes yourself.
yeah, yeah.
Is that
Let me
again
show
a
you a tool.
meditative process?
Oh, completely. Let me show you. In fact, this is Thor's hammer, as I like to call it. Oh,
Ah,
yes.
yes.
And it can, my gosh. So this is my tool, and this was built by, my gosh, made by Janak, actually. You probably know. Of course,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
work
yeah.
together. Yeah, and he it's crazy. What a tool. So yeah, this process again is like, I think I started off with this concept. Self-study has been a common element through my life. So I saw these djembes and I loved them, and I figured, okay, I need to learn how to take care of these instruments. So I started off Googling, and then eventually, again, taking some classes, taking some lessons online, Jubi, whatever, and then making a lot of mistakes. Because here, we in India, we make really good substandard drums. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Good
it's like,
substandard drums.
we're really good at that kind of drum, but it's the raw material and the sort of the just the meticulousness required to do this, pull it properly, and of course now the tools have gotten amazingly, perfect, and to the minutest of millimeters. I'm still not close. I'm nowhere close to being a master, but a lot of this I owe to dear Jimmy Fola and big brother of mine. His name is Jeremy Tomask. He would make, he has a thing called Awa djembes, AWA, and he would make djembes for Mamadi and make the Mamadi Keita signature series djembes. And just observing him, helping him a lot, like following him around, I figured out a lot of stuff. So that's been amazing. Right now, actually, as you speak, I'm looking at my drums and I'm like, it's crazy. Usually, I'd have changed the skin a lot because we're playing a lot, and I run through skins quite often. Like, yeah. And now I'm just hoping that things open up here because I need my new set of skins to come and to make them. Yeah, it's a fun process. It takes a long while, takes a lot of strength, but it keeps you fit. That's for sure.
I'm sure, I'm sure, I'm sure. So, but then are these, do you get these skins in India?
No, no, yeah. In India, I mean, some people say they do, but it's just not reliable, for various reasons. So Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I know all the people who might be able to do it, but I've not had a good experience so far. I've even so much so gone to like, you know, wet markets and asked around saying, yeah, that's it's been a little difficult. So I just get it whenever I travel, I'll get it with me,
Okay,
things like that.
okay, okay. And which wood do you use?
Sorry?
Which wood do you use for the
Ah, yeah,
jengre?
okay. Okay, right. So I have currently one lenke and I think this is a dugura. So now the equivalent in for us would be like a hard, mahogany or rosewood, and heartwood, meaning that's really close to the stump. And so traditionally they're called, well, lenke is good. You have a balafon wood that's great. Iroko, dugura, these are all, good kinds of wood. And each drum kind of wood will have a certain, will lend towards a
Texture.
certain kind of thickness. Yeah, and a thickness of skin. So I have a big, beautiful, like grandfather drum that's huge and it's tuned slightly low, but just the tone is so beautifully warm. A thick, heavy lenke. So when you stand and you play it, it's a full-on upper body workout. My God. So yeah, and the current one that I'm using is actually a lighter drum. It's nice, yeah. And so yeah, good hard, like so close to teak, mahogany, that kind of a thing. That it could be arguably called that here. Traditionally, it's called lenke, and I have that, a nice medium thickness skin, and some zero stretch sailing rope. That's what you need.
Amazing. So insightful, Varun. Uh,
Yeah,
Bringing
thanks,
us
man.
towards the end of this session, I would want to ask you: have you heard of Gappu as a brand?
Yeah. Through a lot of my peers, through a lot of percussionists out there. I've seen a lot of Gappu Cajons, and through Gino and I were talking about it. Yeah, of course I've heard it. I haven't had the chance to play a Gappu
Play.
Cajon yet, but yeah. That's great. I hope that the fine peeps here have shared the story enough and availing of their 40% discount that they'll get on a special
Yeah,
Cajon.
that
No,
that they will announce very very soon on their Insta handle.
it's
But
great.
yeah, amazing. One last message, Varun, for all our listeners here. See,
Wow, guys, no.
there are 6 7 people here, but this is going to be on IGTV, so there are going to be
Of
a lot
course.
of other listeners.
Of course, no, sure, of course, yeah. I'm just really grateful for this opportunity. So once again, thanks Quab, thanks the Gappu Percussion team,
Thank you, Varun.
yeah, thanks Aditya. Um, Message, well, I guess take care and keep, I guess, doing things that makes you happy, and one foot after the next, as we have done for the last year and a half, and we have endured worse as a human race. We will emerge victorious. It's just now a
Yeah,
question of walking, being
one step at
kind
a time.
and being loving, being happy, spreading joy along the way.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Varun.
Hey, thank you,
Uh,
Kwab. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for for the time and for accepting to be with us tonight.
Always. Yeah, my pleasure.
I really love your space, beautiful studio,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
and
Yeah.
hopefully, we've met each other so many times at gigs. We played
Yeah.
at same venues on same days, one set after the
Yes.
other, but probably we've just got to jam once or twice. And I
I
remember
agree. I
that one
agree.
car antisocial gig where we were
Yeah.
playing as One Plate Italy and you guys were playing. That
Yeah.
probably
That was so cool. We
so
definitely need to play and make it happen. Absolutely. Next time
yeah,
I'm in
yeah,
Mumbai or you're in Pune, we'll definitely hang and make it happen.
absolutely. Thank you so much,
Great.
Varun. Thank you all the listeners for
Great.
tuning in.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Varun from Gappu Percussion and myself for your time. It was an
Yeah.
amazing session. Hope to see you all
For me
soon.
too. Absolutely.
Good night,
Take
everyone.
care.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.